She thought she was the absolute boss of this entire neighborhood. She thought her HOA badge gave her God-level authority over every single wire, camera, and cable on this block. She walked right onto my property in broad daylight. She pulled out a pair of bolt cutters and destroyed a $400 piece of security equipment that was keeping my family safe. And she smiled doing it. She actually smiled, but here's what Priscilla did not know at all. What she could not have possibly prepared for was that the cable she cut was federally registered communications infrastructure. And 30 minutes later, I watched from my front window as two black SUVs pulled up. They pulled right up to her door. If you think HOA power trips are just annoying neighborhood drama, stay until the end of this video, because what happened next will make your jaw hit the floor completely. Hit that subscribe button right now, because on this channel, we document everything. And today, everything finally caught up with her. Let me take you back about 6 months, because this story did not start here. It started with a certified letter delivered straight to my door from the Homeowners Association. It was signed by none other than Priscilla, or as the rest of the street quietly calls her, Karen with a clipboard. The letter informed me in 3 dense paragraphs of passive-aggressive legalese that my newly installed security camera system was aesthetically inconsistent with the neighborhood's visual standards. Now I want you to really absorb that. Not a safety violation, not a code issue, but aesthetically inconsistent. My cameras, which I had installed after 3 cars on our street were broken into, were offensive. They were broken into over a 2-month stretch, but they were somehow offensive to her personal sense of curb appeal. I did what any reasonable person would do. I responded in writing and cited local ordinances. I cited the ordinances that specifically protect homeowners' rights to install security systems. I included the municipal code and even offered to paint the mounting brackets to match my siding perfectly. I was polite. I was thorough. I was frankly a little too nice about the whole situation. She did not respond to my letter at all. What she did instead was schedule a neighborhood HOA walkthrough very quickly. She planted herself right in front of my property and proceeded to document every camera, every cable run, and every mounting bracket with her phone camera. Like she was building a massive legal case out there. It turns out she kind of was, just not the kind she actually thought. Over the next few weeks, things escalated in the petty, slow-burn way that only intense HOA disputes can. She sent 2 more letters to me. I responded to both. She called an emergency HOA board meeting, which, by the way, only 4 people attended. One of whom was her own husband, and somehow they passed a resolution demanding I remove the system. They demanded I remove it within 30 days. I consulted an attorney friend who confirmed what I already suspected. The resolution was completely unenforceable. My cameras did not violate any municipal code. They were not pointed at any neighbor's private property, and the HOA's own governing documents contain no specific language about exterior cable routing. I was legally in the clear, and I told her so again. I told her in writing via certified mail with a return receipt requested. She did not take that well at all. What followed was a 2-week campaign of passive intimidation and slow drives past my house. She gave me pointed stares during neighborhood walks and had a bizarre conversation with my next-door neighbor that he later relayed to me. She allegedly referred to my security system as an eyesore. She called it an eyesore and a provocation. A provocation. Cameras that protect my young children are a provocation. I started documenting absolutely everything at that point. Every single interaction. I kept a running log in a notebook and backed everything up digitally, which is also, as it turns out, why I am able to tell this story so precisely to you today. It happened on a quiet Tuesday morning. I was working from home, sitting at my desk near the front of the house, when I got a sudden motion alert on my phone from one of my outdoor cameras. I looked at the footage and could not process it. I could not process what I was seeing for about 3 full seconds. There was Priscilla standing on the public easement at the edge of my property line, wearing her official HOA-branded polo shirt. She was holding an actual pair of bolt cutters. In her other hand was what appeared to be a printed copy of the HOA resolution. It was like she had brought documentation to her own messy crime scene. She reached up, positioned the bolt cutters around the exterior cable that ran from my eaves down to the junction box on my garage wall, and cut it clean through. Then she pulled the cable slightly. She looked at it, appeared completely satisfied, and walked away. The entire thing took maybe 45 seconds. I sat there for a moment, genuinely stunned, not because I had not anticipated her actions, but because I could not believe that a grown adult, a homeowner in a quiet residential neighborhood, had just committed what I was fairly certain was a criminal act in broad daylight so confidently. I called my attorney before I even called the police. His first words after I described what happened were, "Do not touch anything, do not move the cable. Take photos right now and save that footage." He told me to save that camera footage in 3 separate places immediately. I did exactly that. Then I called the non-emergency police line, and then things got very interesting, very fast for her. The responding officer was professional and took my report seriously, which I genuinely appreciated because I had half expected to be told this was a civil matter. It was not treated as civil at all. The officer examined the cut cable, reviewed the camera footage on my phone, and noted that the cable in question was a shielded coaxial cable that was part of a hardwired security DVR system. It ran through a conduit that I had registered with the local utility coordination office prior to installation as required by my county. That registration placed it under a protected category. As the officer explained, it was protected utility infrastructure under federal communications regulations. I had done that paperwork 8 months ago and honestly half forgotten about it. Priscilla had absolutely no idea it existed. What happened next moved faster than I ever expected. The officer made a call, then another call. I was asked to email the footage to an address. It gave me the address, and within about 20 minutes, 2 additional vehicles arrived. These were not local patrol cars, they were black SUVs. 2 men in plain clothes identified themselves clearly. They showed credentials and asked me a series of very specific questions about the cable, when it was installed, who installed it, and whether I had the registration documentation available. I had it all. I had everything because I am that person who keeps records of everything in labeled folders. They thanked me, took copies of my documentation, and then walked down to Priscilla's house. I did not witness the conversation at her door because I went back inside out of a desire not to look like I was watching my neighbor. However, my next-door neighbor had no such restraint at all. He texted me a complete play-by-play. According to him, the conversation at her front door lasted approximately 15 minutes. She came out onto her porch, and there appeared to be a significant discussion. At one point, she went back inside and returned with papers. Presumably, that was the HOA resolution she had been waving around like a talisman. The intense conversation continued right there on the porch. Then the 2 federal men left, returned to their black vehicles, and drove away. I received a call from one of the investigators later that afternoon confirming that a formal complaint had been filed. I would be contacted regarding next steps. I was also informed that Priscilla had been advised of the seriousness of what she had done and had been issued a formal legal notice. She has not spoken to me. She has not driven past my house slowly since that day. She has not sent any letters. The HOA board held an emergency meeting of their own shortly after this, which was considerably better attended. The illegal resolution she had passed was quietly invalidated. My cable has been completely repaired. My cameras are running perfectly, and my notebook of documentation is sitting right here. Here is what I want you to take away from this story. Document everything, every letter, every date, every interaction, and every single upgrade you make to your own property. HOA overreach is real. It is pervasive, and it frequently relies on homeowners not knowing their rights. Know your rights, research your local ordinances, and consult an attorney before you respond to intimidating letters. Do it before, not after. And absolutely without question, register any infrastructure you install with your local utility coordination office. That one piece of paperwork I filled out is what saved me. That form I filled out on a Saturday morning 8 months ago is what turned this from a simple neighbor dispute into a serious federal matter. Priscilla picked the wrong cable to cut that morning. Make sure anyone who comes for your property picks the wrong one too. If this video helped you, or if you have your own HOA horror story, drop it in the comments right now. I read every single one. Welcome to HOA Drama Neighbor. Hit the bell so you never miss an upload. We are just getting started here. Share this video with everyone you know who deals with toxic boards. Subscribe to HOA Drama Neighbor for more.